Hello and welcome to Hearts of Iron 4. Today we're going to be playing as Finland, and it is my first playthrough of this game on my channel. So if you guys have any gameplay tips or whatnot, feel free to leave them in the comments. My main goal for this series is going to be surviving the Winter War and hopefully even picking up a few achievements along the way. But that being said, let's go ahead and start our new series. So we are going to be playing in 1936, and I'll tell you what, because it's my first playthrough of Hearts of Iron on the channel, I'm actually going to read all of the flavor text. Let's get ourselves immersed for this one. So just a quick brief history. Dark times are coming. In Europe, Hitler has consolidated his power, and his attention is now increasingly drawn beyond Germany's borders. Mussolini's Italy continues to embark on daring military adventures, while the Empire of Japan stands poised to attack China in Asia. Almost 20 years have passed since the end of the Great War, and the world has yet again been doused in gasoline. A single spark may be all that it takes. So let's go ahead and start in 36. This would give us plenty of time to build up and whatnot, and of course, you guys already guessed from the title, the thumbnail, I think I've already said it in fact, we are going to be playing as Finland. So just a quick history about them. Finland is a young country, having gained its independence from Russia in 1917, followed by a bloody civil war. The scars of the war are still fresh, and the country's coalition government still struggles to work together effectively. The Soviet Union seems to covet Finnish territory close to Leningrad, and Finland is ill prepared for a potential conflict, but it still has a long history of military valor and determination, and its soldiers are fiercely loyal to their country. With tensions rising and the threat of conflict looming, the future of Finland hangs in the balance. And hopefully I am the man which can keep Finland independent from the Soviets. We do have a bunch of stuff here, but we'll get to see that when we play. So let's go ahead and select our country here. We are going to be playing on regular difficulty. Everything's gonna be set on the default settings. We're gonna be playing Iron Man mode, of course, so we can get achievements if I survive long enough. And we will be playing on historical AI focuses as well. So we do have until about September 1939 before the Winter War triggers. But we should get there in no time at all. So let's go ahead and start our first playthrough of the game. And there we have it. We are loaded in just to prove that we're on Iron Man mode, I guess. I don't know if I can do it. Yeah, save is disabled. I just cut out the loading process. Right, let's get started. Just like Crusader Kings 3, most of what you need to do pops up here. So follow this stuff and I should be fine. Let's go ahead and start with research. I think almost every Hoi 4 playthrough starts with engineering. So let's get electronic mechanical engineering. This gives us 3% extra research speed, which sounds very nice. And then if we go into our industry, of course, industry technology, it's the foundation of everything. Let's get basic machine tools. This will raise our production efficiency cap by 10%, which I will go over all of this stuff just for those of you who are also new to Hoi 4 like me. So we can all understand things together. I'm also going to get construction 1. So construction speed plus 10% and factory repair speed plus 10% as well. From what my understanding is, this game is a little bit like Stellaris, where you kind of just want to stack as many modifiers as you can. Right, what's next? We have 3 civilian factories. Well, we have 4 free civilian factories. We don't start with much at all. In fact, we can't even create a intelligence agency, right? Because we need 5 civilian factories for this. Okay. I mean, I would like an intelligence agency because I need to make collaboration governments. I guess to begin with, let's just make military factories because we will get more civilian factories from our focus tree anyway. So let's just queue up a few military factories here. Why not? Speaking of military factories, we also have a spare one of those. We start with a humongous total of 3. Oh dear. Man, Finland for a new player is a struggle. I know a lot of veterans of Hoi 4 say this country is easy, but man, I'll tell you, as a newer player, it's a struggle. Right, I think, so we have guns being made, we have a support equipment. Let's go ahead and start making some towed artillery. I think I will focus on artillery for my army. I don't believe I have enough times to set up tanks and whatnot in my testing. We also have a free dockyard, so let's go ahead and put those on convoys because we're going to need those for trading resources and whatnot. And now we get on to the fun stuff. The national focus tree. This is going to guide our whole playthrough, and as you can see, there is a lot here. Our first big decision, do we want to go down this tree, which is communism and social democracy over here? Do we want to go down the neutrality path, or do we want to go fascist? I think I'm going to say fascism for a future run, when I'm a bit more experienced and get some of the other Finland achievements. Which leaves me with Finnish neutrality, because I've heard that if we keep our starting leader here, which we'll look at him in more detail as well, if you go all the way down this path, and you get a new course for Kokumus, a secret focus opens here where we can form a monarchy. Which I'm British, so you know, we love a good monarchy here. So I think I am going to go for Finnish neutrality. So this gives us 50 political power, which we will spend on a whole number of things in this series. We do lose a little bit of war support, but that's fine. We do gain some stability, which is good, because right now we only have 49% stability, which has given us some debuffs. And we get a new political advisor, Ristolariti, which gives us political power gain plus 5%, production efficiency cap plus 5%, and daily support for underline. So let's go ahead and do that. It only takes 35 days as well. The strength and determination of our people to fight for their freedom cannot be erased. However, we should pursue a policy of neutrality so that our neighbors have no reason to snuff out our hard-won independence. Let's go ahead and start that. Right. I forgot to mention production efficiency cap. That's that number here. So the higher this is, as you can see, this one's red as well, so we're nowhere near our cap here. The higher this is, basically the more equipment each military factory can make. I believe that sums it up in a very simple term. Right, we have unassigned divisions. Let's go ahead and put them all into a new army, and we'll give them a field marshal as well. Let's see, I just want to check on these. So they're not very big, only 12 combat weight. We have an engineer company, which is good, but it's just plain infantry, and these ones are even worse. They have a width of 6. I don't even think we're going to be using these ones. And then our cavalry here will probably just be our garrisons. Right, I think I'm going to turn everyone into this division, the Jalkava Divisionia. My Finnish pronunciation is going to be terrible, forgive me guys. So let's go ahead and do that. We don't have the manpower for this, but that's something where it's going to be one of the first things we address, where we're going to instantly use up all of this. And I think for this army, let's see, let's get a field marshal first. Look at Mannerheim, he's insane. He has so many extra stuff. Inflexible strategist, we gain +1 defense and +1 logistics. Cautious, we lose a bit of planning speed. But minus 50% chance to get wounded in combat. He's a war hero, so promotion is 50% cheaper. But army reassignment duration plus 50%. We're not going to reassign him. He's locked in for life. Trickster, we get 25% more reconnaissance. Winter specialist, winter attrition minus 50%. That's good because we're in bloody Finland. And we have defensive doctrine as well. Max entrenchment plus 30%. Look at that. 6 defense. So we get plus 15% defense to anyone in his army. That's insane. Let's go ahead and assign him. And then for our front line here, I'm thinking we're going to want someone with good defense for sure. But I guess we might... I'm not going to attack the Soviets straight away, but we might attack them later on once we've worn them down a little bit. So I think Eric Heinrichs here will be good. He's a veteran Jaeger. Equipment capture ratio gain plus 3%, and he gains a bunch of experience for all of that stuff. We'll see that later. He's a winter specialist as well, and he's a ranger, so we get bonus movement, attack, and defense in forest, which if we zoom in here... Wait, did I assign him? I don't think I did I? No. Let's go ahead and do that. If we zoom in here, all of this terrain here is forest, and you can see that by actually clicking on it as well. There we go. You're gonna have to bear with me, guys. This is gonna be a slower playthrough if you haven't already gathered. More aimed at beginners like myself. So if you're more experienced, Be a little bit patient. We'll get there. Right. We do have available decisions. I'm not going to be doing any of this yet. We have no template for artillery. We'll fix that later on. I don't have army experience to update my templates. We have low manpower, I know. And we have insufficient resources, but we don't have civilian factories to trade for this. Right. I think... No, one more thing. Let us check the international market. We can sell some of the equipment we're not going to use. For example, I'm not going to be using these French tanks. So let's go ahead and put those on the market. We'll charge the highest price. And we'll just get a little bit of production here, which should help us build our military factories a little bit faster. Because we still need to make things like anti-air and whatnot. Right, let's go ahead and unpause. We're going to speed up the game. Turkey wants to buy all of my light tanks. Do you know what? Sure, Turkey can have the tanks. And now, the beginning is kind of a waiting game. You get your focuses done. You start building up your industry. Start formulating a plan to survive or even conquer. And that's our goal here. I do want to get an intelligence agency as soon as I can. So we're going to need more civilian factories for that. Right, we've already finished neutrality. So we get all of the stuff we already mentioned there. And as you can see, the other paths have now disappeared. We can't do them. Right, I think next I'm going to go for political unity. So this gives us a bunch of stuff. We gain 100 political power. We gain 10% public trust, which if we take a look at this, so this is our public trust. We want it to be very high because we get a ton of buffs. Right now, we're getting debuffs. And the way that we raise this, if we take a look at per Elvin Svinhundfud here, if we look at his personal agenda, having less than 1% support for democratic and communist ideologies will increase public trust. Well, we have 15% support for democracy and 1% for communists, so we're not meeting that. And then if you look even lower, it says concerning support for socialists, having more than 9% support for democratic or communist ideologies will decrease public trust. We have 15% for democratic parties, so we're losing trust. This is going to be something we struggle with a lot. But we will focus on it. Anyway, so we get a little bit of public trust, 10% to the right, which is good. Change in popularity of non-aligned, plus 5%. This is good because it will also naturally lower the other ideologies a little bit. And we get a few new political advisors. The one that I'm really interested in here is Elias. So he gets us more political power. Weekly manpower plus 200, which is good because we don't have any. But he does give daily fascism support. But I have a solution to that, which I will show you. Right, so let's get political unity. Regardless of political ideology, we all want what is best for our people. In this time of crisis, we must put aside the petty political squabbles and work together. Let's go ahead and get started on that. Also, we can now, I think, what was his name? Was it Risti? We got a new... yeah, Ristol Risti. So we need 100 political power to put him as a political advisor here. So let's go ahead and unpause. And as soon as I get to 100, we will pause and get him into government. The Sultanate of Oza submits to Italian demands. Do you know what? I'm going to read all of these guys because it's our first playthrough. So perhaps unsurprisingly to many, the Sultanate of Oza has accepted Italian demands for subjugation while the Afar government held out hope of avoiding occupation. It became increasingly clear that the colonial powers of the region would not be coming in their aid, nor would neighbouring Ethiopia be able to spare military personnel to support them. With the situation so bleak, the government bowed to Italian pressure to spare the people becoming the victims of unnecessary bloodshed. Italian forces are now moving into the small nation to take up new positions on the border with Ethiopia. It is unclear whether the occupation will be permanent or how it will impact the wider Italian conflict with Ethiopia. Unsurprising, unfortunately. So that's all happening down here. And as you can see, Italy and Ethiopia are currently at war. I just can't see what's happening here because, well, I'm all the way up in bloody Scandinavia. That's why I can't see what's happening here. But you can see Italy are pushing into Ethiopia. In all of my testing, I've never seen Ethiopia survive. Maybe one day if I get a bit better at the game, we can play as Ethiopia. We'll see. The remilitarization of the Rhineland. Germany has stationed troops in the Rhineland territory close to the French border in clear violation of the Treaty of Versailles. Versailles? The pronunciation is going to be poor, guys. Feel free to correct me. The local population cheered for German soldiers on, while the diplomatic reactions from France and Britain have so far been muted. It is no more than the Germans walking into their own backyard, a political commentator in Britain has observed. This is worrying. Some may say that this is the early doors of a war, so Germany are now stationing units in the Rhineland. Some would say they're entitled to do so. Others would disagree. We'll see what happens. Right, Turkey remilitarizes the Turkish Straits as well. Do you know what? I've decided I'm not going to read all of these. I'm going to read the ones which are somewhat close to me. Because I realized this stuff pops up a lot. Right, we've gone past 100 political power. I got distracted. Let's go to Ristoriti into our government. So we're going to gain even more political power now. We're also going to get that daily support for unaligned, which we need to get this as high as possible. And there we go, our first technology, right. So we get 3% extra research speed. Let's go ahead and get mechanical computing. That will give us another 4% research speed. As you can see, we're currently getting a bonus of 5%, 8%. There we go, we just had to wait for the extra benefit to apply there. Oh, bloody hell, guys. I'm stumbling over my words already and the war hasn't started. Right, political unity. Thank you very much. So we're going to get all of those bonuses now. And I think... Let's see. I did do this before. However, I have a different plan this time. I don't plan on recruiting Ulro as a political advisor. I think I'm going to save up for an illustrious gentleman so I can get an extra spy. And I'm not interested in this because, yeah, we just don't need advisors. And I definitely don't want this because it increases popularity of democracy. So I think I'm just going to go straight onto railways and infrastructure. So we get a bunch of naval bases, we get some railways, we get some supply hubs, which is going to be very important when it comes to the war. I think that looks good, yes. Right, let's go ahead and get that. The Great War demonstrated the necessity of robust rail and road networks that support industry and the military in getting resources of people where they need to be. After decades of occupation and bloodshed, our logistics networks are in dire need of investment. Also, wait, did I click on that? No, let's start that. Supply hubs is going to be very important. I will demonstrate this. Let's go ahead and put our army on the front line with the Soviets just to get them all there. I'm also going to start training them as well, actually. Let's get them all up to level 3, at least, so they're ready for the war. Right, now all of our army is on the front line. If we swap to the supply map, you can see here, our units are undersupplied, or supply is stretched thin. This means they're going to perform worse in battle. Not good. What we want to do is make sure our front lines are supplied by building these supply hubs and rail networks, because the Russians won't have good supply at all here. So we have good supply, they have bad supply. Eventually, when we push them, we will make a beeline for their supply hubs here, and the problem only gets worse for them. Because after this, there's no supply in this region, so we can easily push to like this river here. You know, maybe we can get down to this river here, and then we're not even that far away from Moscow. But this is all long-term stuff that I'm planning. Right, next. Who do we want next? We just... Is it this fella here? Yes, he gives us our weekly manpower and daily fascism support. Right. Now, we don't want fascism support, so what I'm going to do is save for 100 political power, and then we will just straight up ban fascism. Yes, we lose some stability, but we should be able to recover that in the long run. The Second London Naval Treaty has now been signed as well. So other things are progressing in the world, but I'm going to focus on Finland and my goals. Look at that, that's absolutely shooting up. Right. let's go ahead and do what we said. We can now ban fascism. And if we take a look here, there's now 0 support for fascism, and this can never go up. So we get the extra manpower with none of the downsides, well, other than the stability. Right, basic machine tools have been researched. Now we have a choice. You can only go down one of these paths. Either we get concentrated industry, and I think this just gives us 5% more factory output, or we can get dispersed, which production efficiency retention is good. Every time you move a military factory to another type of equipment, they lose some production efficiency. So keeping that would be nice. However, the main reason I want to go dispersed is because of the bottom benefit there. Factory bomb vulnerability, minus 15%. We do not have an air force. And the Soviets have a huge one, so they're going to be bombing the hell out of us. So let's get dispersed infantry. And we're going to dedicate ourselves to this line. Most of the early game, I'm going to focus on industry and whatnot as well. The Bolivian Socialist Revolution of 1936. Interesting stuff. What's my next goal? This doesn't give me civilian factories, does it? No. So I think my next goal... Let's see, we could get off of civilian economy. Because this means, yeah, expected number of factories put on consumer goods is 35%. So if we go here, we're losing 3 of our civilian factories because you need some for consumer goods for your population. If I can get off of this and maybe go to partial mobilization, it changes it to 25%, and also military factories are 10% faster to build. Right now, we get a minus 30% construction speed modifier. Right. So yeah, let's save up 150 and we'll go towards partial mobilization. I think that is my next goal here. Railways and infrastructure, very nice. What we could also do is try and get this under 9%. We'll see. First, let's repurpose our small industries. So this gives us a new effect called Repurposed Small Industries, which grants consumer goods factories factor minus 10%. That's very good as well. And we get 2 civilian factories. Right. In that case, I'm going to wait to do this. First, I'm going to... Let's untick all of these. I'm going to entice the masses. So this gives us 10% support for non-aligned. So that would take away from communism and democracy. And we also gain 15% public trust. I want to get this over here. This will double in cost every time, though. But in my testing, if you do this twice, that should be enough. So let's wait till we get 50 political power. You can see every now and then we get some manpower as well, and that instantly goes into our divisions. We now have construction 1. So that's going to give us construction speed. Do I want excavation? Resource gain efficiency. We are short on resources. Do I even have tungsten or aluminium here, though? Oh, it shows us on the map. No. But later on, we will want lots of steel. So I think it's worth it anyway. Yeah, let's go ahead and get excavation 1 for resource gain efficiency. Just so the less we have to trade later on, the better for us, because then the more military factories we can build and the bigger army we can get. Right, we have 50 political power. Let's entice the masses. So we gain a little bit of trust, but we're going to stay in low trust for now. But more importantly, we have lowered support for democracy and communism. Sadly, it's still above 9%. Oh dear. Okay, to do that again, it's going to cost us 100, but it's on cooldown as well. So next, I think we will switch our economy over. Yeah, that's going to require 150. The 11th Olympiad Games. Let's see, did we win anything? The 11th Olympic Games were recently held in Berlin, Germany. Attended by athletes from 49 different nations across the world, the 1936 Summer Olympics are the first in history to have enjoyed limited live television coverage. The games were a significant propaganda victory for the German regime, which spent lavishly on the event. German athletes saw the most success, winning 33 gold medals. Oh, bloody hell. While the Americans came in second with 24, 4 of those were won by Jesse Owens, the single most successful athlete of the games. I guess we didn't win anything, otherwise maybe it would have told us. That's unfortunate. Maybe next time though, guys, maybe we'll host them ourselves. Right, 3 more days and then we've repurposed the small industries. Very nice. So that's going to give us 2 civilian factories, less consumer goods as well. And now we can't go any further down because we need construction 4. We are a long while from that. I am going to want Lone Wolf eventually, but we need 50% world attention. At the moment, we are only at 5%, most of that generated by the German Reich, of course, no surprise there. So I'm thinking maybe we reach out to Scandinavia. That will make Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Iceland like us a little bit more. And then we get moderate politics. We gain more political power. We gain more public trust. And then when we hit the 50% world attention, we can immediately get Lone Wolf, which is going to give us a ton of modifiers. And more importantly, get us down to Greater Finland if we want to do that. Also closer to our extra research slot as well. I think, yeah, let's do these 2. I did skip this one, so we have a little bit of extra time. And then we're going to focus on industry over here. So the focus trees, although they are huge, they are organized quite well. Which I do like. So let's reach out to Scandinavia. Most of our Scandinavian neighbors share our sentiments and have little interest in being dragged into great power conflicts. By maintaining strong relations with them, we may build the foundations of our collective defense. Sweden are going to be a huge help to us. When we go to war, we're not going to have enough equipment. I mean, like, we're already missing 7,000 guns, guys. Which is going to take over 3 years to manufacture. Sweden is going to be a huge help in giving us equipment. Right, we have another military factory. Let's go ahead and start making... trains and trucks are going to be important. Especially as we're going to be losing our trains to bombings. We're also going to need anti-air, though. I'm going to start with the anti-air. We're going to need anti-air because we don't have an air force. Nothing here. We do have a tiny navy, though, I just noticed. Let's go ahead and merge those. And I guess we'll just put you in charge. Probably not going to do anything with you. My main focus is going to be on the army. Right, continue. Onwards. These focuses, only 35 days. Very quick to complete. Very nice. That's one is done. Let's get moderate politics as well. It's going to give us more political power and public trust. As tensions simmer among the great powers, we need to ensure that our government is not seen as being too lenient upon the ideologies of any faction. Therefore, we must pursue a policy of domestic moderation. Of course, though, I do want the unaligned to be the majority there. Is this going down by itself? It is 10.17. Also, I didn't see, guys, we get something called National Spirits, which are war modifiers. So that's where our repurposed small industries come from. Sisu, though, is actually a knock-on effect from this. So as you go up here, it says activation effect, modify Sisu. So if we have very high trust, we get a lot of modifiers to this, which will help us when the fighting starts, which we will get our way there, right? We have 100 political power. This is not off cooldown yet, so I will just save up to change economies. I think that's the way I want to do this. Can I make an intelligence agency now? I can. Let us wait, because I need to change this. I need to entice the masses one more time, and then I can spend the political power to get another political advisor, which will tie in with the agency. Yes. Right, so we've got this one. We can't progress this because we're tied up with world tension. I will do national unity later. That will give us more recruitable population. This is all military stuff. Let's get enhanced to southern infrastructure. So this gives us a ton of infrastructure. We get railways. We get supply hubs. And we get building slots. As the Finnish nation looks to secure its place in the world, it must focus on building and improving its industrial capacity. The first step to achieve this goal is to improve the infrastructure in the southern regions to ensure that they are better prepared to handle the demands of the light and heavy industry in the short term. Let us go ahead and start that. Also, I've just changed my mind. I am going to form the agency now. let's just use the default here. It's only going to take 30 days, but what we can start doing is forming a spy network in Russia. Right. We just got political power. Let's go over to partial mobilization. And now we will build military factories even faster, but more importantly, we are only using 2 factories for consumer goods, and we now have 7 remaining to build stuff. We are using 5 of those to form the spy agency though, so we need to wait for those to become available. Right, we've just researched 2 things. What's the year? 1936. So if we were to do this, it would take longer, because we are not in 37 here. I will need radio eventually. We have... Should I get some anti-tank stuff going? I didn't do this in my test runs, but the Soviets do have a lot of light tanks. Maybe it would be worth trying, because I'm not going to build tanks of my own, so we will have a little bit of extra factories to use. Sure, I'm going to research anti-tank technology. This will also give us guns and stuff as well for our tanks if we want to, and I think this is for... I think this is an anti-tank cannon that we can pull on planes later if we wanted. But let's go ahead and research this. We can also spend a little bit of political power to give us a 10% research bonus as well. I will do that. We also have another technology slot, right. So we're going to get anti-tank stuff. We're not going to bother with tanks. Support companions. Let's see. We don't need logistics or maintenance companies because we're not doing this. We could get armored trains. These can withstand bombing more. And I think that's going to be important. So let's go ahead and get armored trains. The sooner we can start manufacturing them, the better in the long run. But guys, I think I'm going to leave it there for episode 1. I'm going to record for like the next 4 hours, so don't worry, there will be daily uploads of this. I'm addicted to Hoi 4. But again, if you have any gameplay recommendations, whatnot, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you want to see more Hearts of Iron in the future, then make sure to click on the like button as well, because I am mostly a CK3 channel, but I want to branch out a little bit. So if you guys love Hoi 4 and you want to see more, then I will do more of it. It's as simple as that. But guys, thank you for watching as always. Hopefully you're enjoying this new series and we'll have a lot of fun with it. But I'll see you next time.